I just wanted to start by congratulating you and Aclarity on this recognition of Company of the Year in the North American PFAS treatment industry. We know Aclarity is at the forefront of enabling cutting-edge PFAS treatment solutions that allow landfill operators and centralized waste treatment facilities to minimize release of hazardous waste and hazardous chemicals into the environment while still safely treating wastewater. So part of the uniqueness of Aclarity's solution and what stands out is the ability to destroy short and long chains of these contaminants and handle it at industrial scale volumes for full-scale on-site PFAS destruction while still focusing on lowering the energy use, which is something really unique right now. And this proves Aclarity's solution to be efficient and versatile at the same time with your unique destruction as a service offering for full-scale installation, for operation, and for servicing for your clients. And at the same time, thinking about saving costs, because by destroying PFAS on site, you are helping eliminate the need to invest in the expensive and labor-intensive transportation we know it's for PFAS and the big cost that is for waste disposal sites and the cost also for replacing PFAS removal media. So this solution is really unique for you and for your clients. And we're seeing a lot of interest right now in this industry. We know that Aclarity recently finished your Series A funding. So could you tell us a bit more on this and why do you think your investors and clients are choosing Aclarity for this?
Well, first, thanks, Victoria, and the whole team at Frost Sullivan for recognizing Aclarity for this PFAS technology award. We're so honored and just really appreciative. You know, it's interesting because even about 5 years ago, a lot of the world, even in the industrial world, didn't know about PFAS or maybe didn't have a sense of urgency to move about PFAS. And we've seen over the last 5 years a spike of companies, you know, starting to rise up to try and treat PFAS. We've really taken the lead in deploying systems in the United States and actually looking to Europe as well. Have a fair amount of projects out there, and you know, working with partners, especially pre-concentration technology partners like those that are doing concentration of PFAS in foam fractionation, in reverse osmosis, from regenerable media like ion exchange resins, for example, so that we can cost effectively destroy PFAS at like as you said, at the industrial scale economically. And that's not really something that a lot of companies have been able to do. And we've been able to solve that problem.
Yes, and you mentioned how the industry has evolved so fast in the last 5 years. I couldn't agree more. It's something that it's still surprising. And another thing that we've been looking at from the Frost perspective is the commercial readiness and destruction of short chain PFAS. That it's something that it's gaining a lot of attention right now, and this topic continues to drive attention in the industry. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, the ability to destroy short chains is really important. Why? Well, they're toxic. They're not good for us, and they're persistent as well. But a big thing is the regulations. You know, states have taken the lead in regulating PFAS. The federal government is regulating PFAS and various different types of regulations, which I can get into, but they don't. You know, they're no longer just PFOA and PFOS. We're talking PFBS and other types of, you know, C4 to C9 compounds. That's the carbon chain of these PFAS. And so you have to go to market. You have to have the ability to destroy those compounds, or at least to manage them to an extent. And we've been able to figure that out economically.
Yes, and it's incredible how you've managed to include your new solution into this market that it's growing so fast. And like you mentioned, Regulations are changing at the same pace as the industry is growing. It's incredible how from one year to another, we started looking at PFAS, we started seeing increasing regulations, and we started looking at regulations that 2 years ago were so stringent, we didn't know how the industry was going to address. And right now we are seeing solutions like the Aclarity ones that help destroy PFAS on site with low energy use that are really unique. And from the first side, we think it's really unique and incredible to see how fast companies like Aclarity have been able to introduce themselves in this market and with these types of solutions, and also keeping pace with the stringent regulation that we are seeing overall in the US and also being increasing in Europe. So what are your predictions regarding PFAS treatment industry for this year?
Well, the first thing from the U.S. perspective is regulations, right? And actually, I would say from European perspective as well. But speaking mostly from the U.S. perspective, the U.S. EPA is on track to regulate six compounds or groups of PFAS compounds in the Safe Drinking Water Act. So we're expecting for published maximum contaminant levels in drinking water for PFAS, which is really the first of its kind, especially to be regulated in the low parts per trillion, which is really truly wild. So we've got the Safe Drinking Water Act coming out. EPA is still on track to designate at least PFOA and PFOS, perhaps another 4 or so compounds as hazardous waste according to CERCLA. That's the Superfund law. And then later on this year, we're expecting to see some more guidance from EPA around the Clean Water Act, and that's going to be on the disposal and discharge side as they keep upping their disposal guidelines, and then incorporating them into the Clean Water Act. So I would say for 2024, massive regulatory drivers, right? And then how does that affect the market? It affects everybody. Everybody that knows about PFAS, it's going to affect. We have utilities. There are, anticipated 5,000 or so utilities that are going to be immediately affected this quarter, very likely, with the Clean Water Act, designations. The Safe Drinking Water Act designations, and so we have on the drinking water side a lot of that's going, and it's kind of funneling into the industrial side. All of it's because PFAS is such a it's really a circular economy, but it's also a circular cycle. It's a literal circular cycle with the water cycle, and so we now have, for example, wastewater treatment plants who are now discharging a fair amount of PFAS into the local rivers and streams, and they're getting a lot of pressure from even local governments specifically. And so it's causing a lot of economic issues upstream, and they're starting to significantly increase their rates of PFAS, PFAS acceptance, PFAS waste acceptance into the wastewater treatment plants, or refuse them altogether. So this is then going back to the landfills. It's going back to the industrial wastewater treatment. Industrial, I say wastewater treatment plants. So that's my background. But the industrial sites that have PFAS that need to dispose, and so costs are going up. We're going up significantly. We're now running into supply chain issues. It takes about 6 months or maybe more at cases to get granular activated carbon to absorb PFAS onto that carbon. We're seeing a lot of supply chain issues and a lot of cost issues. And so it's really driving the demand for on-site PFAS destruction. So we can, alleviate a lot of the burden on the cost side, on the supply chain side, and especially on the insurance risk side. It's just, so important. So lots going on in the PFAS space.
A lot. And you mentioned, because we've been focusing a lot on the downstream side of PFAS treatment, but we know it's affecting the whole supply chain. It's not only the downstream right now, it's upstream. It's affecting the industry as a whole. we just know that it's not about if we have PFAS, but about how much PFAS we do have and how much we can treat. And your on-site solution, it's really going to help lower the cost and effectively treat these contaminants. So it's really incredible. And now that you've been recognized with this Company of the Year award in the PFAS treatment from Frost & Sullivan, what are the next steps for Aclarity? What can we expect to see from your company in the next few years?
So we are looking at widespread distribution, I should say, a widespread offering throughout the United States, starting to enter Europe and maybe potentially some other geographies as well. A really key component of that is working with the right partners. And we're very lucky to be working with fantastic partners. As I said, on the pre-concentration side, to concentrate PFAS when it's in the lower ranges, like lower concentrations, just to really make it more economic and a little bit more of a better treatment rate. So working with those partners, teeing up partners around on the European side is a big focus for us right now as we start to expand. I guess I'll take a quick step back too and say we're going to market with a product that we've called the Octa. Why is it the Octa? It has 8 full-scale reactors on a fully skidded system, and these are modular. And essentially, what we do is we, deploy these Octas on site, however many is necessary to treat the full flow. And we've made them very simple, right? Super simple to operate. They're operated with we've got a PLC, HMI PLC. We can operate them remotely, and although we typically are there. And we offer a business model. So the business model is destruction as a service. It's a full offering. So we build, own, operate, and service the systems, and that makes it very convenient for the customers. So getting back into the question, we're working with a lot of landfills as they're seeing a lot of pressure right now. Even with pending regulations, but even without the regulations, the disposal fees of their leachate because of this PFAS problem is very high, and the risk for them is very high as well. So we're working with landfills. We're expanding to some new verticals as well, some new industries, especially in the kind of traditional industrial wastewater space. And we're seeing a ton of projects come in on the remediation side, and that is just so great to be able to help communities to remediate some PFAS from their sites.
Yes, I'm really excited to see your Octa solution working because it sounds really interesting. Everything that we've talked and discussed about Aclarity solution, it's great, it's unique. I really like how you mentioned partnerships, since we know it's a key step into working in this industry. It's something that we cannot do alone. And I think Aclarity has a great track record with the partners that you choose to work with. It's incredible, and I'm sure it's going to help you deploy your solutions worldwide very soon. So thank you so much for your time and all your answers to our questions. It's always super interesting to hear about your company and the solutions that you have in the PFAS treatment market.
Thank you so much.